If you're not sure which AF area mode to use on your Nikon Z camera, I'm willing to bet that you're defaulting to just one or maybe two, but that means that you're missing out on what all of the other AF area modes offer. So here's a breakdown of each autofocus area mode, when to use them, and what they can do for your photography. To bring you up to speed on the terminology, because I know a lot of it can be confusing, the autofocus area mode controls where the camera looks for focus. And then choosing the right one for your subject and your situation, that's just as important as choosing the right focus mode, continuous or single shot. So here are the available autofocus area modes across Nikon Z cameras. Yours may not have some of these. It may look different depending on the model that you have. But in general, the smallest mode that we're going to start with is Pinpoint Autofocus. This is the smallest, most precise autofocus zone available. And I should also note that Pinpoint is only available in single shot autofocus, AFS. This is not an option in AFC. This one uses up all autofocus points on the sensor. If you have alternating or half autofocus points chosen in the custom settings A group, you're still going to be using all points when you are in Pinpoint. You can't alternate them. And the reason is because of that precision. This mode is best for stationary subjects where you need exact focus placement, particularly in like macro or product photography where you have a shallow depth of field. You really need to nail what's sharp, and you'd rather use autofocus instead of manual focus to do that. You do not want to use Pinpoint when your subject's moving, and that's just because the point is so precise, it's a lot slower to move around the screen, and you don't want to have to try to move it around to track something that's moving. So still life, close-up photography, shallow depth of field, try Pinpoint. Single point is kind of like the standard small point. This too is good for stationary subjects where you need to control exactly where the camera focuses, and so it'll lock on whatever's underneath that point and then ignore everything around it. This one does follow the focus points used that you have chosen in the custom settings A group. So if you have alternating or half points set, you can move this one around the screen a lot faster than Pinpoint. So if you still need precision, but not the level of precision that Pinpoint offers, I'd recommend using single point. I personally prefer single point over Pinpoint just because it is faster to move around the screen. Dynamic area autofocus is very similar to single point in size, but then you're also going to see these little points around that box. And what this mode does is, if you have something that's moving, but it's not moving too fast, or maybe it's moving towards you or away from you, so it's not running across the scene, you can place your subject underneath that point. And then if it moves slightly, it moves out of that single point box, then this mode is going to use one of those surrounding points to maintain focus. So just remember that those little dots are kind of like backup focus points if your subject moves out of the main focus point. This dynamic area AF is only available in continuous autofocus because it is meant for moving subjects, and if your subjects are moving, you're likely going to want to be in AFC. You won't see dynamic area in AFS. You can kind of think of it as the single point version for moving subjects. Some cameras allow you to choose different sizes, so you actually have larger focus areas than that single point size. And because this point is relatively small, it's best used if the subject either isn't moving fast or it's moving in kind of the same area on the frame, like towards you or away from you. It can be difficult to track something that's constantly moving back and forth throughout the frame, so we'll see what to use if that's the case later. But if it's moving slow, or it's moving predictably, or it's staying in the same area of the frame, dynamic area is a great AF area mode to choose. And then we have wide area AF, both small and large. The camera is going to select focus from a wider area, and that gives you a chance to define a region that you want to focus in rather than a small little point. The small wide area is only slightly larger than single point, and then large is a rectangle that takes up roughly 10% of the screen. Newer cameras give you two custom sizes, C1 and C2, that you can set on the screen. But just looking at this in general, wide area is available in all focus modes except for manual focus. Older cameras also have a people and animal subject detection option. Newer cameras kind of separates that from the AF area modes. But the wide area is good to use when things are slightly more chaotic. Like maybe the movement is less predictable than what you can use for dynamic area. You're having a difficult time keeping that dynamic area point over your subject. Or you just want to focus somewhere on a larger area of the composition, whatever's closest to you, but not necessarily anywhere in the composition. That larger area gives you more room to work with than single point, especially for moving subjects. And it will usually prioritize the closest subject. If various distances are detected within the focus box, it's going to grab onto whatever's closest. Now, that could be exactly what you're looking for if you are in a situation where you have a larger area on the screen where you want to focus on whatever's closest to you. But at the same time, you also have to take that into consideration if you're doing like a landscape or something and there's a branch in the way. This area could snag that branch if it's in the frame, and your entire landscape could be out of focus. So for still life, this isn't really the mode that I would use. I would use single point, again, just to have that more precise placement. But if you're photographing sports or something similar, and you want a larger area and then focus on the closest object, this is a great one to choose. 3D tracking mode is available in the newer cameras. This too is a smaller point that's similar in size to single point autofocus. This is only available in continuous autofocus, AFC, and again, in the newer cameras. This is a great mode to use when you are tracking moving subjects in continuous autofocus mode. It uses both color and contrast to track the point underneath the focus box when you command autofocus. You can track animals, people, or cars, or even if you just want to use the focus and recompose technique, you can track the same static point while recomposing in still life photography. Whatever is underneath that box, when you press the focus button, whether that's the shutter or the back autofocus button, it's going to start tracking that for as long as you command autofocus. As soon as you let go of that back button or the shutter button, it'll stop tracking. And because it does rely on color and contrast to track that moving subject, if your scene lacks that, or your subject is moving across a scene that has the same color, same contrast, that box may transfer over to something else. So either try to place that box on an area that has more light or color contrast, and if that's still not working, you may need to revert to dynamic area autofocus or wide area autofocus. A lot of people get frustrated with 3D tracking mode. I've found that it works really well so long as you stay within the constraints of the technology. That's really important to understand. There's also a video mode of 3D tracking, that's subject tracking autofocus. It's great for tracking something that's moving or changing distance within your frame, whether that movement is caused by you or the subject. But when you are recording that movie and you want to track something, you just put the box over what it is you want to track, press OK to start tracking that subject, and then press OK again to stop. The camera will track that, and if you're also in full-time autofocus mode, it'll maintain focus on whatever's underneath that box, whether or not you are actually recording a video. And then we have Auto Area AF. This is available in all cameras and all modes, again, except for manual focus. This uses the entire screen. You're not even going to see a focus box around the screen, except for the older cameras. Auto Area is good when you just don't know where to put the focus point, or you don't have time to switch modes or move a point around the screen, or it just doesn't matter. If you're photographing landscapes and you don't necessarily have a multi-layered landscape like a really close foreground subject and a midground and a background subject, you can just go to Auto Area AF. It'll grab onto whatever is closest or has the highest contrast, and lock focus onto that. The focus indication is going to be slightly different. You're going to see all those green boxes where the camera has locked focus. This is kind of like the last resort autofocus mode, just because you can never be 100% sure what the camera is going to focus on unless there's some obvious point of high contrast. And because of this lack of control that you're going to have, I'd really only recommend using this when it just doesn't matter. Again, like when you're photographing a distant landscape. I suppose it'll work for snapshots also, like any other point and shoot camera, but I don't think you spent this much money on a camera to treat it like a point and shoot. It can sometimes give you a much more difficult time when you want to lock onto something that it's just not locking onto. However, I do use Auto Area AF sometimes in conjunction with subject detection. It works really well with subject detection, which we'll talk about next. So, the newer cameras that don't have the wide or auto area people or animal tracking options, if you have subject detection as a menu option in the photo shooting menu, you can think of this as an extra layer on top of your autofocus area. When that detection is active and it recognizes a subject that you've either chosen or is in auto mode, it's going to override that autofocus area selection to prioritize that detected subject. But that subject type does have to be under or at least very close to your autofocus area box. And then if that detection goes away or it can't find anything anymore, the camera is going to fall back to that selected autofocus area mode. I just wanted to quickly point that out so you kind of expect what the camera is going to do when subject detection is enabled. We go into much further detail about using subject detection in the Nikon Z Photography Fundamentals course. Now, because there are a lot of different autofocus areas available and you're probably not going to use all of them, sports photographers are going to have different needs from landscape photographers who will have different needs from macro photographers and so on. Some of these modes may be completely irrelevant to you. Well, there's an option to actually take these out of the list of autofocus area modes when you're changing it via a custom function control or in the I menu. You can remove the modes that you never use so that you can more quickly pick the modes that you do need. So now that you have an understanding of what each AF area mode is good for, identify the ones that you might use or need to use, and then identify the ones that you think you would never need or never use. You can then go into your custom settings A group, limit AF area mode selection, and then just remove the check marks from the ones that you don't ever use. As an example, looking at the 11 options on my Nikon ZF, I typically only use either single point, the medium dynamic area, the large wide area, 3D tracking, or auto area. I've disabled the other 6. So now when I go into my I menu, or I'm using that custom control to choose the AF area mode, I only see the 5 that I use. And that makes the selection process a lot easier, a lot faster, it's less confusing, and so I'd really recommend that you take advantage of this customization option. I mentioned using a custom function control to choose your autofocus area mode. When you combine that with the AF area limiter, you can choose the autofocus area mode that you need really fast. This is the default setup on many cameras, but if you go into your custom settings menu, F2 for your custom controls, you can choose focus mode / AF area mode. That'll let you select between the AF area modes that you've enabled in that limit AF area menu. You just hold that button and then rotate the dial to choose the AF area mode that you need. And then you have some other options for choosing your AF area mode depending on the camera that you have. There's cycle AF area mode, where you can just choose the AF area modes that you want to cycle through when you push the button. So as you push it, it'll just cycle between whatever's checked off here. You can recall a specific AF area mode. You just choose this option and then select whichever AF area mode that you want. Or you can do that plus activating autofocus when you push that button. And I actually use this on my lens function button. I have this program to 3D tracking plus AF on. So if I'm in continuous autofocus mode and I need to immediately start tracking something while commanding autofocus, I just put the center of whatever autofocus area mode that I'm currently in over that subject, press and hold the lens function button, and now it starts tracking that subject and commanding autofocus. As soon as I release that button, autofocus turns off and it reverts to whatever autofocus area mode that I was in before pressing that button. So those are a few ways to customize the autofocus area modes that you're most likely to use. So again, you can pick those a lot faster, which will in turn help you get sharper pictures. So to recap, you can use pinpoint and single point for control and precision, dynamic area for moderately moving subjects, wide and auto for less predictable movement, and then 3D tracking to track a subject across the entire frame. If you want to learn even more about the Nikon Z autofocus and manual focus systems, as well as all of the other menus and exposure systems with videos and text outlines, assignments and quizzes and downloads, you can check out my Nikon Z Photography Fundamentals course at photocourses.link/NikonZ. Use the code TUBE20 for 20% off of that course. Please let me know if you have any other questions or comments below. Subscribe for more great tips like this every week, and I hope to see you in the next video.